Hello everyone, welcome back to Create with Chidex. I'm Chidima and today I will be showing you how I made this cheese and wine themed cake. So basically everything here is edible. I've got two different kinds of cheese. I've got some ham, some grapes, the cheese knife, the cheese board as well, and even the champagne glasses here. So you can basically eat everything. Seriously guys, it's crazy these days. You can't really trust anything. It just might be cake. Even as I'm speaking to you, I might be cake, who knows. Anyway, that aside, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to like this video, share with your family and friends, and also subscribe, and I would just get on right to the cake. So if you want to know how I made this cake, just keep watching the video to the end, and I hope you enjoy the video. So here I've got some brown and beige colored fondant. So I colored the brown one using the Sugarflair's gel color in chestnut brown. And for the beige fondant, I colored it using the same chestnut brown and Sugarflair's gel color in egg yellow stroke cream. Using my rolling pin, I'm now going to roll out and flatten these two fondant logs just a little bit. After that, I'll place the brown fondant on the beige one. Press them together, fold the edges in, and then roll everything into a single log. So I'm just repeating the process, folding the edges in and then rolling. And next I'm going to just use my, this fondant tool and spread a bit of the chestnut brown on top of the fondant. Then I'll fold the edges in again, roll. So I'm going to continue this folding and rolling process. So in total I did it for about 9 times. You can see the wood grain effect is starting to show. After folding and rolling for the 9th time, I then folded in the edges, this time sideways, and then used my rolling pin to roll out the fondant lengthwise, following the wood effect grains. After that, I rubbed some shortening on the board, then placed the rolled out fondant on this board. Using my rolling pin, I rolled the fondant out some more on the board, and then using an X-Acto knife and a square plate as a template, I cut out the cheese board. When cutting around the plate, I left about 2 inches uncut at the top, and using a ruler, I cut the fondant at this spot vertically like so. After this, I used the kitchen knife to neatly remove the excess fondant. I took off the plate, and then using a spatula, I traced and cut out a handle for the cheese board. As I did previously, I used the kitchen knife to neatly cut out the excess fondant around the handle. Then using an X-Acto blade, I blended in the line left by the plate between the handle and the main board. After doing that, I used the fondant tool to make a hole in the handle of the board like so. Then I moved on to the next step. In the next step, using a serrated knife, I leveled out a 6-inch square cake. I had 2 boards which I already made using cardboard that I cut and wrapped in foil, one in the shape of a triangle and the other a quarter of a circle. As you can see, I also attached the boards to the cake using some buttercream. Next, I coated the cake using some buttercream icing and then put them in the fridge for about 20 minutes. To cover the cake, I used modeling chocolate. So while the cake was in the fridge, I started preparing the modeling chocolate first by kneading it and then rolling it out. Then I brought out the first cake, measured the sides and the top, and then cut out panels a little over the size of the sides and the top of the cake. Then using the panels, I covered the cake and then cut the panels to the exact size using an X-Acto knife. To further trim and seal the edges, I cut them using the scissors. Here I'm just using my fondant smoother to smoothen the sides of the cake. After covering and smoothing the cake, using a soft brush, I'll coat the outer surface with some powdered white food color to give it that aged cheese look. For the cheese triangle cake, I colored my modeling chocolate using the egg yellow stroke cream gel color by Sugarflair. And then similar to the previous cake, I rolled out the modeling chocolate, cut out panels for the sides and the top, covered the cake, and then trimmed them to fit using both an X-Acto knife and the scissors. I'm just using my fondant smoother to smoothen the seams. This is easy to do with modeling chocolate. After this, I'll use different sized objects with rounded bottoms to make indentations in the cake. So in this case, the tools I used were a 1/4 teaspoon and the bottom of my brush. To place the cakes on the cheese board I prepared earlier, I had to make some support to prevent the board from sinking in due to the weight of the cakes. So to do this, I cut out templates the size of the bottoms of the cakes, and then using these templates, I traced and marked out the areas where I would place the cakes, then inserted some bubble straws, cut them to the same height as the board, and then after doing this, I placed the cakes on top of the board. To make the ham, I colored some modeling chocolate pink and some white. After kneading the pink one, I used the kitchen knife to cut it into two, following an irregular line, like so. Then I cut some of the white one as well and put it in between these two parts. I also cut some additional white modeling chocolate and then wrapped it halfway around the outer edges of the pink one. Then I put this modeling chocolate in the fridge for 20 minutes to harden it and make it easier to slice. On bringing it out of the fridge, I used the kitchen knife to slice it into thinner slices. When I was done slicing, I used the rolling pin to flatten the slices further.
When I finished making the ham, I folded and piled it on top of the cheese board. To make the grapes, I started out with some sugar craft wires. So I folded the first wire and twisted it to form the base of the stalk. Then I started adding in additional wires and branching them out to form the individual stems. When I was done forming the stems, I rubbed some shortening on it. Then I used some light green fondant to cover the stems, leaving out only the tips. After that, I lightly dusted it with some brown powder. To make the cheese knife, I've got some black fondant and some grey fondant. So to start with, I'm going to roll out the grey fondant. I'm going to roll it out very thinly. Then I'll place it on parchment paper, and using a template which I drew and cut from cardboard, I will cut out the shape of the blade part of the knife. Next, I'll use the black fondant to mold the knife's handle. Then using a kitchen knife, I'll make a slight cut like this at the top. Then insert the blade part of the knife inside this cut. I'll run my finger along the edge of the blade to flatten it, and then using an X-Acto knife, I will cut off some of the fondant like so. After that, I'll paint the blade using an edible metallic silver paint. I did 3 coats of this paint, putting the cheese knife in the fridge between each coat to dry. To make my champagne glasses, I melted some isomalt in a Pyrex bowl. I did this 1 minute at a time, stopping and stirring until it was completely melted. When it had melted, I left it for a few minutes for the bubbles to settle. Then I poured it into my mold and left it in the mold for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I inverted the mold, poured out the remaining liquid, leaving the mold upside down until the isomalt stopped pouring out. Then using a knife which I heated up with my blowtorch, I cut the isomalt trimmings at the top of the mold and then kept the mold aside to allow the isomalt to cool completely before gently unmolding and taking out the sugar glass. So I made 2 of these glasses for the cake. And there you have it, the finished cheese and wine themed cake with some real wine poured into the glasses.
So guys, I'd like you to meet my hubby, Eric.
Hello.
It really took some convincing to get him to join me today. Now we're going to propose a toast to our subscribers.
We're toasting for...
Toasting to or toasting for? I would like to propose a toast. So we're going to be drinking to good health for all of our subscribers. Thank you very much for supporting us. Yeah. So, cheers.
Am I allowed to eat this now?
Yeah, I think you can.
Lovely.
Alright guys.
Thank you for watching and stay tuned.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.